Get comfortable here. My knee, my leg. Okay. All right, welcome. Welcome to the channel. I'm so grateful that you guys were able to find me. This is where we'll be at 10 o'clock, Monday through Thursday. Okay. So, hi. For those that don't know me, my name is Trish. I'm a psychologist, a trauma counselor, and a somatic therapist. I do the bottom-up approach, so I help out with anybody struggling with mental health. This is new for me. I have not done this, and quite honestly, it's been a struggle to get to this very point because I'm such I'm a private person. Like, you guys have no idea. I will be in the same town as people and still not come out of my house because I just love it. And the studio makes it very easy to check in and chime in with folks because I can't keep up with everybody, right? And people have been calling, and I'm going to write this down. Family chat at 10 a.m. YouTube live, because we have created this massive network, and there's not enough time in the day to like communicate with everyone. So hope everybody's well. It's Tuesday, and it's been a wonderful morning. As you know, I've been working. If you don't know, hi, my name is Trish. I am a mother of 2. I've been married to my partner for over, I have to think about it, 16 years. He is a former Marine officer. He's been in a lot of stuff, and we have experienced life before this life. We have a life before this life. So I'm really here to talk about relationships and how to move in between the communication portions that are not really spoken, like bridging the gaps in communication when it comes to relationships. Not a relationship expert, but I'd like to chime in. I've got some experience, since now it seems so polarized between who will or will not talk to whomever based on status, based off of parents, based off of, I don't know, just making things up. When the truth is, we're here to love. And if you're not moving with love, then your energetic frequency is vibing at its lowest. And that's what it is. And that's where conflict comes in, and manipulation, and people who are just not kind people. And when they are dysregulated, angry, frustrated, feel as though they have lost control of the situation, it can get very dark. That's where you see the bullying come in, the invisible gestures, the microaggressions, the oppressive ways in which this person is speaking with you. That part where parents are left between what the fuck, and I'm very tempted to go down to the school, right? Because you're protecting your child. That is what we'll be like really talking about today, because I like for us to live in a life of peace, and primarily it comes from that internal space. We're a very angry society, and I'm laughing. That's a nervous laugh, but the ways in which we're being programmed with information, it's very hard to. It takes a lot of courage to like pull away from that. So Maybe this is more for executive functioning. Maybe this is for the parents who feel as though, I can't do that. I won't do that. Like this is for the parents who are like, I can't, I won't, there's no way, you're crazy. I can't do that. Da, da, da. Everything's impossible. There's a cap on the ceiling. Like, no, 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 you're past my boundaries. Those are my boundaries. Da, da, da. What those boundaries really are. I invite you to explore your boundaries because it will tell you so much about yourself. It can't just be, I'm not doing it, point blank, period. That's it. That means you have a wall up. You have a wall up and you cannot be accessed. You cannot be spoken to. And when you can't be spoken to and you can't connect with your family or your kids or anybody for that matter, it becomes an issue. Then you start to isolate. When you start isolating, what are you doing in those isolation? Are you numbing yourself, right? And there's a way to numb yourself. There's an appropriate way to numb yourself. And then there's the other way to numb yourself that could be absolutely detrimental, and people, you know, um, have been falling on both sides of the spectrum. And to be honest with you, like my entire, our lives have we have peaks and valleys, right? Peaks and valleys. And so it's up to us. It behoves us, the adults, the females in this community, the representation, to really speak up on that so that other young adults, young parents, young just people who are attracted to us have an understanding, an understanding of like, hey, it's spiritual. Like, this is a connection. You know, I will help you peel back the layers to what is holding you back. I am just here as a sounding board, a filtered ear. And this is an actual, like, if you're in those situations, it's time for you to seek the support that you need. And it's hard. So where do we go with that? Everybody's busy. I don't know why I didn't use the internet before. I kind of did. Really like not wanting to jump on here, but it's good. It's fine. And we've been moving a lot. So let's talk about my memory. How to peel back on woundings, right? The body holds a score. If you can make somebody's life easier, why wouldn't you, right? It's just, I mean, it's hard to access here because you're living life, the bills, the money, the illusion with money, and then the distortedness with money, and that how money has power. And so like everybody kind of gravitates. I was on this boat, gravitate and like, I need money in order to sustain my life, and and then it just comes out. It really came down to like, I can't afford this life. I can't afford it emotionally, and I can't afford it mentally to sustain this particular life. Not now, but like many lives ago. And you'll go through it. And you'll go through periods where you're just like smooth sailing. And then one thing takes you and you never come back the same. Those are the spaces in which we can bridge the gaps of communication, because it's such a very sensitive space. That person closed off. They went so far into themselves because of the shame and the guilt and the wounding that it brings up for that person, or wasn't aware. But so many of that allows you to be stuck in your head. Trauma, right? And then learning. I don't know what your experience is with learning, but if you're a person that had ADHD and did not get diagnosed until like college, you are a very strong person. You're a courageous person. I'll tell you a story. Quick story. I was in college. My manifestation, and because I was in such a horrible space with my parent who was desperately struggling at full capacity, she was not able to parent. She paired me with everything that she had at that very moment. And it left me to figure out life very early, 7 years old. Probably earlier than that, because that 7 years old is the time where you have access to your memories as a human being, right? Anything beyond 7 years old, you're in that theta state. You're just recording your surroundings, your environment, how your parents interact, how your parent interacts with you. Did they hold you? Did they not hold you? Were they going through depression? Did they know they were going to depression? So all of your developmental neurons may or may have not developed. Your nervous system may or may not, right? That's where the neglect and the abuse. So, what form of communication did you have? And this is so important. And on forums, it really matters too. Everybody thinks this is a quick box, but you really need to think about it. Were you raised with a caregiver that spoke English, right? Were you raised with a caregiver who had an addiction, right? Were you raised with a family member or somebody who went to jail? Right? Like, come on. And the list goes on, right? Did you have physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, neglect, right? Abandoned, right? One parent home, right? Yeah. All of this has such a huge impact on the brain and the body. It actually allows you to disconnect at a very young age because it's not safe to be in your body. Just sit there and think about that. We are disconnected from a very early age, even to the point of 6 weeks when you are born. I believe, I don't know how much time they give here in the US. I believe it's like, I think 3 months, but it's even shorter than that, if they even offer that. In Canada, it's 3 years. In Finland, in Europe, it's like 7 years. Do the math. You're going to become a psychologist. Do the math on that. We're literally, they have cultivated this world the way that they want it to. And so it's our job to go in there and kind of peel back on some of these layers. And is it making sense? Okay. Anxiety is something that we've had all our life. Attachment woundings, those look different. They are disorganized attachment, where you had a parent who was coming and going and not very consistent, say they'd leave, never come back for weeks, and they show up, you're super excited, you get the release, the serotonin release, and you're so excited to see them, and then they leave, and there's another horrible release to your body, and an assault to your heart, and then they don't come back, and now you think that, oh my God, it's me, Yes, that is an assault to your heart, which makes it just seals. So that release in your brain changes the neurons, changes the chemical reaction in your brain, and that's where you start to change. That's where you start to harden a little bit. That's where you start to disconnect because it's so uncomfortable. That's how you process what's going on in your environment. And everybody in your household will process it differently. Your sister will process it differently than the younger brother, because the sister and the younger brother have two completely separate parents, different, not the same parent, but completely separate, different human beings. I'm not the same person I was when I was 32 or 28 or 18 or 7 yesterday. I'm not the same person. We are not the same people we were yesterday. Every day you are changing and evolving. So today you might get a nice brand new person who is like, beautiful life because the sun is shining and it's out there. And then Christmas, maybe Christmas, I lost somebody. Christmas is like a tough time for many people. Like, people don't like celebrating a holiday. PTSD comes up, like extreme loneliness. Like, what do you see in those times? So I would invite you to really peel back the layers on how you view your trauma. A, it is not your fault. B, the body holds a score, and your vessel, this ship, has been holding space for you, waiting for you to befriend it, to love on it, to embrace it, to be present. But oftentimes we can't be present with ourselves because we have never been given the luxury to do that in a nurturing space. And that requires a lot of energy, intentional work, to be aligned with what your mission is, and to be heard and seen and validated for what you all experienced, but to understand that a lot of it does not have anything to do with you, and you have to cut ties and cords with it all. How do you cut ties and cords with something that is so deeply ingrained in you and that you've passed on to your children? Not understanding. No, but there's no book on parenting, first of all, and I believe there should be. Perhaps I should read one. There's no book on parenting, but the number one cardinal rule is not to share your trauma with your children. How do you do that? Like, all your stories are like engraved in that. Like, how do you not share your stories? Because you're passing your trauma onto them. Their brain is in theta state. It's taking all that in. So now that's building a world that's not really theirs. And then you're putting them in school that's building another world, right? They've got like different planets that they go to. They go to school, that's a planet. They're at home, that's a planet. They're at the gym, that's a planet. All these different planets, and they get to pick which planet they want to be on that feeds their soul. But that's not what happens. What happens is we're told to put our kids in school. You can't be spoken to, and you can't. Sorry, guys, I was like filming over here. We put them in school to a planet, an institution. Institutions are great. They're a place of teaching. I don't know about now. Now it's kind of different because the world is shifting and narrative, but you still need that social interaction, that social emotion. You need healthy social emotional interactions to bridge the gap of communication. You need social emotional interactions that are appropriate so that you can open up and blossom rather than curl back into your shell and get stuck in a space where you're numbing, because it's just so much more. Your body needs so much more, because all your body knows is the unhealthy, distortive attachments that you have grown up with. And those other planets are all connected. But when you get disconnected from a planet and a coach says, you can't come here anymore until you clean up your stuff, then we get severed from that. When you get severed from an attachment, it's extremely painful. If you've ever been severed from an attachment, a sport, a job that you really loved, a friend, you know, life. Somebody died, COVID, the life, you're mourning the life that you once had, and you don't even recognize it because you used to be able to do so much things, but now it's you're mourning, you're grieving, right? Unless we can acknowledge that and start peeling back the layers on it, nothing's going to change. You're going to get stuck into these patterns that you once thought was helpful, and now it's just really self-sabotaging in its finest form. That's not wrong or right. It's just a pattern, a habitual pattern that we've had over time, and not really understanding how to like undo that with our new. How do you combine that with your new self and your old self, right? You've got to sever cords and then bridge the gap between that and what you foresee for yourself in the near future. Not easy. No. And while you're doing that, you're embodying that experience, but you have to be living present. You have to be presently living. And we're not present. We're not able, most of us are not able to be present because we choose not to be present. Okay. We choose our careers over our own health and wellness. And I'm not saying go out there and quit your job. I'm saying you need to dedicate 2 hours to yourself to bring yourself back home to what matters to you the most, your inner child. I'm seeing ladies out here, and it behoves me to be in this community right now because I get to see so many things, you know, in the communities. I see the retirement community, I see the youth community, I see the little ones, I see the new parents, and I see the ones that are kind of like struggling with their health, or you know what, they're actually pretty cool with their health. They're like, I'm good with myself. I just need to know that I'm okay financially. Right? There's a lot of people walking around here who have got income, but they choose to disconnect from the institutions and the programs because there's such a huge hostile, judgmental environment, and people don't even realize they're doing it. But that's because the world is, you know, it's kind of like upside down right now. Energies are kind of strong. We're still in that Lionsgate portal, so energies are wilding out. But let me get back to my topic. Is when we're doing healing, we are in a very fragile space. You are birthing a new planet for yourself. It's gonna take a lot of energy out of you. It will give you some panic attacks if you don't understand like where that's coming from. If you can't trace back to those woundings and sit with yourself and ask your body First of all, where's that coming from? Is it your chest? Is it your lower shoulders? Is it your jaw? Because if it's your jaw and your chakra, it's because you weren't able to speak when you were supposed to be able to speak. And now you're having to advocate for something that you need, but you don't really know what you need because you've never been able to be seen. You've always told people are always told you what you need. It's a common thing for wounding. In order to do the work, it is exhausting, but you have to be intentional with it. And so you want to bridge the gap between, I want to have this wonderful relation. I want to have all these wonderful relationships with my friends and my kids and my family and da 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 da. And then I really enjoy doing all of these other things too. How do you combine all of that? You've got to create space. You have to custom create and focus. If it brings you peace, peace is success. That's it. Success is a life of peace. If you are happy with yourself, that's all that matters what you're doing. I could explain that I do coaching, da 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 da, but people minimize coaching. They want to see a product. Oh my God, this fly's driving me insane. And I'm just not in the space to promote in a way just yet because that's not my gift. My gift is speaking. And I'm laughing a nervous laugh because I'm going to tell you a quick story. This goes back to my own wounding, my learning wounding, right? Like I said, I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD until my junior year in college. That would mean I went through, and I was a high school dropout. And I was living on my own at the age of 13. Let me give you some backstory because I completely forget. Living on my own since 16. No, I'm sorry, 13. I had been kicked out of my house. I was just raw, like so bruised, so broken. So I was just walking with my garbage bags, my many black garbage bags, white bags, green bags. And I remember hanging out. It's okay. I got you now, girl. You are so good right now. That was something that came up. I sat with it, metabolized it, and I love her. Like, I love you. That's the kind of love you got to give yourself when those things come up. That is the somatic work of like being able to talk about your story to make shift. Your story is so important. You're so validated. But anyways, back to my story. I was 13, just had a physical, my mom got physical with me again. And I was so out of it. Like my spirit was like, you got to get out of here. Like, if you don't get out of here, she's going to kill you. She's going to unalive you. And she just had a baby. So now that I'm putting it together, I understand that she was going through postpartum along with everything else that comes up with me, absolutely exhausted, me not understanding how to, taking care of everything, but not, it was projecting, right? She was projecting. It's just her safe space. Once you're safe in your safe space, parents, you see this with your kids. When they're safe with you, then you get the real person. You get the real kid, happy, all thousands of emotions, right? So I experienced that with her on many occasions. This was the very last where I was just like, I can't continue to do this. I had lived with her from the age of 7 to 13. It was absolutely devastating. I had moved from, family member to family member. So I have trauma. And the way that I process and metabolize and can sit with myself in order to come to this space in life and sit in this chair with you is only God. He has a higher plan. But and he was with me. So in those I think I can't do the math, so don't judge me. 7 or 6 years that I was with her, she was able to undo anything, all the learning that I had up to that point. Up to that point, it was It was good. I had lived with my grandfather. He provided shelter. He fed me. He showed me his wonderful collection of women. He was a ladies' man and very liked, very loved. It's ridiculous what this Trinidadian came out here to do. He was the man. Like I am literally my grandfather's person. And um, and I'm pointing this out because this is how childhood wounding works in attachments and the things that you see very in life. I also remember sitting with those women who were absolutely devastated that my grandfather would decide to go out and do his own thing or go to work. And they had no idea what to do with themselves at home. They stopped their whole entire lives and they kept giving their body. Sure. Like desiring this man. I seen this as a child and all the programs are coming in. Oh, well, but why are you sad? Like, and whatever they would say. And I'm like, but you can go outside. Like the door's unlocked. So that right there is, what do they call that? They call it, it's like the freeze fawn stage, right? Fight, flight, freeze response. It brought up their inner wounding and they reverted into whatever childlike mind that they experienced in the adult like functioning body. That's exactly what I was witnessing. But my brain, my developmental brain, internalized it into something entirely different. It became like how I would move about my life. Now, I've had a wonderful life. Don't get me wrong. I've had a wonderful life. But we're breaking down the ways in which everything kind of showed up, right? In our relationships, in our interactions with people, and XYZ. So living with my grandfather for 7 years, I had this experience. Living with my mom for the 6 years, I've had this really dark, like I walked into her karma or something. Like it's intense. In that time, I had met my families and it was very confusing. When you take a child out of their environment and bring them to another environment, that right there requires therapy. Building a bridge between communication. Because I did not have any, and no fault to anyone. I'm using my life as an example for those organizations, people that are trying to heal their wounding. This is how far back you have to really consider you. Now, because I didn't have that bridge in communication, I lost access to all of my ability to speak. Right? I was so scared that I froze. Trauma. And then I wanted to escape my body. Flight. I disconnected because it was so bad. And then the freeze is this tall figure coming over you and telling you all the things that you're supposed to be doing, and then threatening you and maybe beating you as you're going down the hallway to go shower or whatever thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the freeze, and then the actual contact, the physical contact that should have been nurturing was physical abuse. How does that all play into your life as an adult? Well, you internalize it. You go through life. You're seeing and observing different relationships, and you're like, oh, yes, I want to be a part of that because that one is a no. I don't do that no more. Like, like I'm stepping away from that. I want this life. This is what I like to see for myself. This is where I want to be. Like, I'm going to be so. And while I was going through all of that, these are the things that I was envisioning. I never want to feel like this again. I never want to be this. Why am I here? Like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just sit in my closet where it's safe and fantasize about things that I'd like to see myself doing. So I was like the president, or I don't know, something. I was very light with my thoughts, with my imaginations. I was always very light and bright because my outside world was so very dark and heavy. It's like there was a war out there. The 3D world was ghetto. I was not taking part of that. I'd rather stay in my mind and internalize and have all these wonderful moments where I can create and do what I need to do. So, in order to, as an adult, as a functional adult who lives in this time right now, who is healing on live broadcasts with, and I've already gone through all of this. So there's only God that will allow me to do this and speak to you all, so that it actually reaches who it needs to reach, who is needing to know that it's okay that you're not okay, because it is a lot to go through. And the fact that you're here is actually miraculous that you're here. And we're so excited to like have you with us. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know school's a little sus, a little tough sometimes. I know life gets a little like, what? And I know that you choose to ignore and shift your attention to something that better serves you, as you should. That is your right. But it's also a rite of passage to have access to wellness, and access is within yourself. Doing the things that you could possibly do to get you closer to whatever goal you have. In order to get a goal, you have to have small goals, big goals, achievable goals, and some crazy ass goals that are kind of like, what is this girl thinking? Like, is she for real? For real? Yes. Yes. All of those. Get a journal, start writing, creating. And if you're too scared to create, or you think, oh, that's stupid, I would never do anything like that, then I would invite you to explore that even more and peel back the layers on that, and kind of track your body, in your body, like, where do you feel that? Because for me, I felt that in my heart. Like, I felt like an assault to my heart. Like, it was like, oh, I remember what I was like telling my family and friends, my family, my mom at the time, whoever would listen, that, hey, I wanted to do this, that. And they were just kind of like, A, they would never heard me. B, they tore me down for even thinking that way. And I was like, man, I can really do this. Like, how come you don't believe in me? It's because they couldn't believe in themselves, because they couldn't see themselves, because they only could see what's outside of them that they were running from. It is so important to have representation in your life. It's so important for you to follow your gut feeling, follow that intuition, and learn how to separate the intuition from the fear. It's not easy, but it's a daily practice. And so we should practice daily that. We should also practice breathing. Breath work is so very important. The importance about breath work. I need to slow down my thoughts, because sometimes my brain, ADHD brain, gets a little fast for me, and I have to be like, hey, you bring it back. So, what was I saying? Processing. I don't even know, guys. Sorry. But yeah. All right. So I'm learning YouTube. Oh boy. It's kind of fun, this whole like online thing. Gives me like a reason to wake up in the morning and check in on my tribe. And yeah. Okay. ADHD brain executive functioning. Affirmative learning. Okay. What day is it, guys? Today's the 16th. August 2023. This is like a body double thing. So we're literally just working together. Work 5th in May. All right. Actually, maybe we just put like positive psychology. Like, what am I thinking? Positive psychology. Positive psychology. Mastermind. I'm sorry, guys. Like, if you're not stemming and singing, then I don't know what the deal is. And I can't spell today. Okay. I don't know. How do I? Okay. All right. So yeah. Um, I don't remember what I was saying entirely, but I've really been thinking about entering the community in a way that better suits me and my sensory needs, so I can continue to show up in my full authentic self. And this is how I will engage in that. Um, in order for you to show up in your best self, like, you have to create what that looks like for you. And I'm not one to discourage anybody about getting a degree and doing all of these wonderful things. I'm not one to discourage anybody to go to school or follow their passion. I'm just one to be very, very transparent and honest with you. After all that I've been through, I didn't need a degree. I did not need a degree. I needed a degree and a standing ovation for getting through this life. That's what I needed. That would have made everything just so much better. I'm here, happily here, because I get to be a part of your world. I get to be with my family. I have a family. Hold up. Can we just rewind? I have a family. That felt good. That was a full inhale all the way through the backside of my neck, all the way deep into my heart. I felt that. My ribs are a little bit sore because of the pain, but I'm carrying it. I'm carrying it, and I'm carrying it proudly, and I'm carrying it well, and I'm carrying it because no other child, no other adult, no other human being in my presence will experience that high vibrational if they're in alignment. Now, if you're not in alignment and you come across my way and we're not going to have the same experience, honey. I already know. It ain't no secret. I already know. And it's okay. And it's okay. So I also want to talk about my friend, one of my girls. She's like, at first I thought it was, and this is a judgment, I thought it was easy for people to stay at home. I thought it was easy for people to stay at home and take care of them kids. I'm like, why not? It's like the easiest thing in the world. No, it's not. No, it's not. You have to want to do that. You have to have a desire to do that. You should have some training. You should have some training as to how to do that. Because the training in which I need to know what kind of training you received and what your upbringing was for you to watch my kids. Nobody's watching my kids, actually. Nobody. I don't hand over my kids to anybody, honestly. And if I do, it's because God was like, it's okay. But we got to be careful about who we're handing off our kids to. Some of these coaches are disconnected from themselves. And I'm going to say this because, well, full transparency. Another story. I was coaching high school, and there came a period where I already had a plan. Like, I was only going to stay in the community for so many years because I had stuff to do. I was too busy sprinting and running and getting into all these wonderful projects and contracting opportunities and gigs. And then I stopped and fell in love with the idea of, like, creating and building and just, all of the things. Not because I was passionate about anything, because I have never been shown passion and I've never seen love the way that I see it and have experienced it. after kids. And it really did split my mind in half because it was so evident as to why we were here. And it was to help love on these two human beings that are just absolutely amazing and fill our hearts with so much joy, and so many other people, right? So loved. And it was tough because I did not have family. And so when I'm creating my family, right? Because my abandonment wound is people will leave you anywhere. And it's true. So we go out there and create family through different planets, right? And I was having a hard time figuring out how to get everybody's planets on mine. Not once did it dawn on me that I should actually do something because I had already been programmed to do things for everybody else. Nobody wants to see me speak. I don't want to hear me speak. And that's the way that my brain would work. And I was comfortable doing whatever I need to do and getting back to the house to reset and restore and come back out here, come back out there, go back out there and do what I was doing. I was losing sleep. I was, exhausted, running around town as a social worker, but learning the street, learning the streets and getting to know people in the community on a whole different perspective, like spectrum. I loved my career. I loved being an early childhood educator. I'm not an early childhood educator. I'm an early childhood prevention specialist. That is a very lovable job. And I'm going to tell you why. You get to be with kids and you get to be with families and you get to help coach them into molding this precious human thing. And you get to watch them grow. And you get to watch the family grow. And it's a very precious moment, precious role. Here's what makes it so difficult. The fact that it's with an institution or a state, you can't really, you have so many limitations, but you also have limitations in the sense that the programs are set in place. It's the resources which you're getting with these families that you're not really sure if it's, you just find yourself putting out fires all the time. That's what it is. You find yourself putting out so much fires that it takes away from that precious opportunity to connect with a family. And that right there is not working, right? It's not giving human services. It's not giving human services vibe. So, love the role for allowing me to map out my new surroundings and be bond and visit with everybody in the community. Now, that was one world that I had. The other world that I had was a planet of wonderful athletes, wonderful, gifted, talented student athletes who no doubt need to be honored and given their flowers for just being stellar. A school that was providing a need for the community. My other planet was, what was my other planet? I had another planet. Oh yes, working at the college. Worked at the college for a bit. On some levels, I worked for the college for a bit, and I was like, "This is definitely what I want to do." It was actually a tough transition because I was transitioning from this high school to the college to, pursue my career. I was feeling stagnant. I had 2 kids. I was a parent who was really just wanting to do one role, and I just wanted to be home with my kids. That's it. I kept finding these odd end jobs. The reason why that was happening and the reason why I'm talking about this right now, those odd end jobs came all in a moment where I was completely dysregulated. I was running from the situation I was in because I was not happy with it. And I was diving into other organizations and projects that I was not emotionally prepared for. I was already depleted. there's a way to communicate that would speak to my heart, but because it's hard for me to connect with folks on, hey, this actually works for me and that does not, because it would require me to be confrontational and strong minded and be able to look somebody in the face and be like, that doesn't work for me. I didn't even know that I had that option to say that doesn't work for me. Actually, this is what I would like to see happen. This is how I can better, offer you something. There was no guidance. There was no guidance. There was nobody in my ear to be like, this is how you do this if you're having a hard time doing XYZ. Because you have ADHD and you have, in order to believe that it's something that's real, you have to like talk to the brain, talk to the brain, talk to the heart so that it can reach the brain, talk to the heart so it can reach the brain, bridge the gap of communication because the person is disconnected because they're on autopilot. Am I making sense here? You're building neuroplasticity in the mind. And it can't be done just all willy-nilly out in the streets with your friends all the damn time. It can't be like, you're coaching an athletic sport and you're doing this job. It's either or. So that's what I've been kind of struggling with, because I'm like, this is how it has to work, because this is how we have to bridge the gap between communication and allow the masses to hear and have that vocabulary to express how they truly feel so they can get the support they need. Neurodiversity is increasing by the millions with the pandemic, the mental health, right? Bridging the communication between mental health and the institutions is what has to happen. Hold on, I'm just writing this down. I give myself my own ideas. Bridging the communication gap between, I said, medical and institutional. Okay, so it's needed, but there's so many ways that you can serve, which is honorable. I'm not going to do well in an institution. And I believe at some point that that's exactly where I'll end up like preaching, and that'll be okay. But for now, this right here is my institution. This right here is the main priority. Wellness. Wellness for someone who has struggled with having to mask myself in public, having to perform for the characters that are in this life that don't bear any weight on anything that I do, but all want a willing, able body to, I don't know, manhandle. We don't do that. I'm too much in my feminine for that shit. Not doing it. Not doing it, ladies. Not doing it. So I'm here for you. You here for me. This is what we doing. Doing. So yeah, then I am for us. I am all for us. I'm all for us because we have families to take care of. I'm all for us because we have men to take care of. I am all for us because without our men, we do not. Right. So we are in this together. It's reciprocal. It has to be. It has to be. It's a must. It's a must. And however I show up in my full authenticity to my full authentic way is how it is. It's worked this far and it will continue to work for the rest of my life. I am comfortable with being and seeing the world with a different set of lens so that we can change the whole generational lineage and put out there what it really is, So all you need is internet. The internet. They make social media so difficult. It can be used as a tool and it can be used as a weapon. Often it is weaponized and it should not be. There are so many things that are weaponized and it should not be. Gaming, Minecraft, right? That is like a wonderful way for your child to communicate. It really is. What else is a wonderful way? Weaponizing. What are we weaponizing? We're weaponizing women and men. Oh yes, the obvious, right? Um, color. Just weaponizing fools. Like just stop. Just stop. Stop. You ain't got to pick a side. Be you. Be whoever you are, and go find your tribe. That's it. And stay in your lane and stay out of people's businesses. If you are in people's businesses, we cannot be friends. No, I don't have time for any of that stuff. I really don't. I really don't. I got a family to raise, and quite frankly, it was difficult to get out of the bed this morning. It's too heavy. It's already too heavy. I just woke up. If we're being honest, right? Like it's already too heavy. We just woke up. So um, I can laugh about it now, honestly. And I also want to just chuckle a little bit, like the way that my brain processes. It's just, it's beautiful. I truly enjoy it and I love it. I am such a book nerd, and I'm excited to like move forward with this other project that just like warms my heart to the most. Um, I do need like a full team to do it, because this is the extent of what I can possibly do. I need a team to set me up. So all I have to do is sit down and hit the record button. That's it. So, anyways, it's about 51 minutes of content. Now I'll just get into the nitty gritty. For those that are watching, thank you. For those that I sent the link to, and make sure you open it up. Well, thank you. If you have 51 minutes in, you have opened it up. And I'm thinking about you guys, and I know that it's tough right now. I know that change will, yeah. Yeah, I know how difficult change is. I know you know how difficult change is, and how our health goes in and out, and how our bodies do the most. Excuse me, I'm releasing. Look at that. Um, I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time and energy to pour into this and allow me to pour into you. You guys give me life. You give me a reason to look forward to. You give me so many stories of how I've interpreted versus what really happened. You know, that part. There are three sides to life, and I'm enjoying being present for all of them. Since it's just like right now, right? Um, Thank you for the memories that we shared. Thank you for the conversations that we have. Thank you for the. I never received no gifts now. It's so funny. Everybody's like, hey, yeah, yeah, I get gifts all the time, but I just want people to like talk to me, like be present. And I thought, what? You get gifts? Why ain't you get no gifts from nobody? Hello? Hello? I like gifts. I like nice gifts. Hey, maybe I should write that down. I didn't know that till I said it. That's how my brain works. I'm already gifted, so that's why I don't need no gifts. I don't, yeah. Anyways, I don't know why I said that, but I did. It was meant for somebody to hear. Ashe. Um, anyways, uh, let's see. Let's just catch you guys up on the fam and things that are going on here. I'm still very overwhelmed. We are very much in a space where we're amicable and fully aware that we need to step into our own beings and allow ourselves to fly and soar, and still understand that holidays and vacations and trips and all that other stuff will be united if we can, then that's okay too. um, we're such in a good space right now that it was a blessing to have come this far, but it took a lot. And I don't, we're never the same when we go through, life. And that's okay. As long as I get to be a phenomenal mom to my kids, that's all that matters to me. That's it. I am so blessed to have such loving people around me, but for my kids to love me the way that they do, like, and for them to reparent me. I was not like this, guys. And I know I was nowhere close to this, guys. I would cut people off, ghost them. Like, I'm like, nope, no, no. I don't have two fucks to give, and I can't handle nobody weighing me down with your fear. I can't handle me down with you weighing me down with your insecurities. I can't handle you weighing me down with your confusion. And sometimes I can't even handle hearing you talk. Like, why is you talking? You hurt me. I'm so sensitive. Those are the ways that I was sensitive. I would be overstimulated by like the light. And I'm walking around into environments where people are expecting you to perform and be all kiki-keying. And I was just never like that. And if I was kiki-keying with you, it was just you and nobody else. That's the way I am. And that's okay. Because that's how I learned to cope with my environment, since my environment would not bend to cope to me. That is a childhood wound. So once we can better understand what complex PTSD is and adverse childhood experiences, this is all that this live is about. We are dealing with a society that's going through that. And if the environment can't bend to accommodate the ways in which they should, so they can have access to learning and functioning and bridge that gap of communication, then I don't want to say that it's pointless, the academic piece, but it kind of is pointless, because emotionally, there's no muscle being built. Mentally, there's no muscle being built in the right, appropriate direction. It's being built in a way of disproportionate, distortive, heavy, already mastered how to get out of there. And so now I'm going to master getting out of a million different things. And that's not a bad thing, because that's a very protective thing of the body to do in the mind, because it's in preservation mode. That's a body preserving itself. When you're on autopilot, you're preserving what energy you have to move forward in what you need to do for everything and everyone that is asking something of you every second of the day, because it is overstimulating. Am I speaking to anybody out here? We do it with our veterans. We do it with our kids. We do it we ignore the aging because we just can't handle it. It's too much now. And I'm guilty of this, because I get tired of people too. I really do. But I'm really tired. I'm really, really exhausted with institutions not providing and honoring, bridging the emotional, the social emotional muscle it takes to sustain a life of peace. Doesn't take much. It takes a sacrifice, right? It takes a huge sacrifice. Like, it'll always take a sacrifice. In order for you to get what you deserve and what you need and what is your rites of passage, it's going to take a sacrifice. Not somebody else. You are going to sacrifice yourself on many different levels. And I'm sure it's linked to the Bible in which ways that Jesus sacrificed himself for us to live this life. Like, why are you being redundant though? Why are you being redundant? Like, why are you out there doing the most, knowing that you're at full capacity? And then judging everybody else for what they're doing and not even looking at what you're not, what your purpose here is to be. So I feel like I went down a rabbit hole with that, low key, but it is what it is. My brain is just like having a great old time. So yeah, I really thought about like what I'm going to do with the podcast, and I'm excited to finally be back and do it. Like, Europe was so interesting. And I'm going to dive into this because there's so many people that have been following me. Thank you for following me. I'm following my journey. One of the things about Europe that I intended, my intentions were good. I intended to go over there and document everything and move. And then we got there and there was so much happening that my inner wounding allowed me to shut down and shut off all communication, because I was in preservation mode and I knew it, but I couldn't articulate that, not even in a sentence, because I don't have access to my higher functioning to put an email out. Cognitive distortion, people. Cognitive distortion. That's what happened during the pandemic, where people are like, I was so tired, like I could not move or open my eyelids. Cognitive distortion. Vitamin D, magnesium, moringa, and spirulina. If I had just had access to all of those, and I did, and then when I ran out of it, it was awful. it was a struggle. When I say the struggle was real, the struggle was real. And nice healthy release as I built the new memories for the first 3 years of our lives, new life, because you live like we live like in sevens, every 7 years you do something, whatever started is now coming to an end, right? You're getting ready to prune. You've been slowly pruning out that so that you can make space for what's coming into your life because you're creating, right? And this is how manifestation works. You are creating the life that you want, micro steps, little steps. Nothing big, nothing drastic, nothing rushed, nothing because somebody told you to do it, doing it because it fills your heart and it fills your soul, gives you life, allows you to have elasticity in your skin. Like it just makes you play, keep you in play. And still pour into the community in a way that serves them best, serves everybody. So the way that you manifest is so important. Like I said, I've been mastering this. I've been doing this thing my whole life. Like this is my life path. This is my loving life path. You will not find me anywhere else. Honestly. Healing requires a lot of courage to let go and move from a space of disempowerment to empowerment. And it looks very different for everyone. And we need more people in the church, but I know how the church can get. I wish that I didn't have that perspective or experience, but because I do and I have and I did, when that time comes to unravel that and I feel safe and ready and I have the energetic capacity to do that, maybe I will visit that situation. But for now, right now, it is a very difficult space to occupy. And that's just me. But look at that. We have choices. You have a choice to wherever you want to do the work and create out of that. That's what being a digital creator is. It's not just about the fashion. It's not just about the landscape. It's not just about the whatever's in the picture. It's about seeing something repetitively and building your vision and sharing it with your audience. All right? Without an academic agenda, without an agenda from anyone else but you as the creator who has full control of the armor that you want to put out there, whatever that looks like for you. And then you have the rest of your life to do everything else. Go visit your other planets. Remember we talk about these planets? Right. All right. I hope you all have had a wonderful day. I'm so glad that you came out here to spend time with me on this live. Like I said, every day at 10, I will be on here. I am making a conscious effort to myself to promise that to myself so that I can keep showing up. This is my first one. It ain't going to be great. It ain't even going to be what I expected it to be. And to be honest with you, I just wanted to share what was on my heart. We talk about weaponizing language and using people against each other. Like it is not even that serious. It's a journey that we're on. It's shared experiences that we have. It's pouring into one another and knowing that, hey, it's going to be okay. You're okay. You're good. What you're going through is a lot right now. It's heavy. But don't forget who you are. Make space for you. You know what's going on. An hour, 45 minutes, 5 minutes. Every day, you're going to have to breathe. Every single day. I promise you. Every day, make it a conscious effort to breathe. Because if you've had many experiences, you're going to forget sometimes to breathe. And if you do, make you creative. When I breathe, like my whole back gets a good stretch. I need to do this standing up, by the way. Like my whole back gets a stretch, right? I can literally choose to not engage. And disconnecting is an automatic thing. It's not, you don't get to choose your fight or fight freeze response. And I think I want to put this out there. This is going to be like church. Like they say that they're leaving, but they're not really leaving because they're still here. Your fight flight response is not a choice. Can I just say that again? Your F response is not a choice. I often find my husband telling my kids, well, if such and such happened, then you're going to do da 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 da. Be ready. Da 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 da. It's not a choice. You can preach it as much as you want. And then you're going to be mad when like they didn't do the things that you did. That's your expectation on somebody else. Like free will. Okay. Can't tamper with free will. So I just want to put that out there. So those of you that are, shaming yourself for having a response to a situation that you did not invite into your space, cut ties with that. That's not for you. I know it's hard, but that's not yours to carry. That is not your burden to carry at all. The fact that karma crossed into your path during that time, I'm sorry. I am absolutely sorry. And I understand. I get it. It's happened a lot to me too. And looking back, I'm like, I don't even remember most of it, but when it did, I'm like, yo, like, seriously? I know that wasn't for me. So I'm good. I'm gonna keep moving. And then I'd be like, downtown always has something to look forward to, right? Like when something terrible kind of happens, because the day is just the day, whatever you are spent going into yourself, make sure you enjoy it. Like walk to the park, take a different road, listen to different music. Let's see what else. Eat with a different hand. Try something you never tried before. Purposely plan something to look forward to. Now, I can only say this because I'm out of the storm. When I'm in the storm, I can't really think very well, but I'll be writing this down. Like I hope that you're writing this down. You've got to do something different. Sometimes I would, like end of 7 years, I think every 7 years, I think I do a big chop. That's another thing that I'm like revealing. The big chop is for me very significant. It is an end to a chapter that I will not be looking back on. And then anything that new, I fully accepted with open arms. And then I just keep building and I keep building. And at some point it became this whole, this is my planet. This is my space. This is my planet. This is my happy space. I'm like chilling. Like I'm good. Even when I'm not good, I'm good, but I'm heavy and I express it and it brings out a lot of uncomfortable, raw feelings for people who cannot process their own stuff. And that's why we have women groups, because unless you have had a life of experiences, hell, if you had life experiences and you're over the age of 40, come on in. Come on in. This is for us. Over 40 podcasts, right? Like this is for us. Like legit, this is for us. It's a lot. So I don't do competitions with women. I don't compete. Like at some point, the competition gets a little murky, and I'm in no competition with anybody. I'm in competition with myself. And I beg somebody to come to the community, in this community, and tell us how we gonna move. So enough is enough. I live in my soft girl era. I don't have any energy to give. And the energy I do have is allowing my heart to grow and provide the space that it needs to stay healthy so that my other organs can keep going, because my body's been through so much. Everything that it's survived, every birth, every period, every unwanted gesture, every workout, every assault, every backhanded compliment that's completely oppressive and very racist. I just don't move that way. I don't. So I have to preserve. I'm in preservation. And I don't know how long I'll be in preservation mode, but right now it's going on 4 years. 4 years. And that's where I choose to stay, because I want to be here for the rest of my life, because I have 2 planets that I thoroughly love visiting. And there's 2 universes that I get to visit. 2 universes, completely different ball game. And I spend my time. It's the 2 universes, it's the 2 planets. I might be getting overzealous here, but I'm talking about my kids, their worlds. I get to have a bird's eye of it, and that's just enough. That's just enough. I get to be a part of that from such a loving space. And until that is my main thing. That and this. And then of course, wherever Yara is, and my 3 poodles. My 3 poodles. I have 3 poodles, guys. Yeah. So from this space is where I'll be communicating and providing us with a network where we can chit chat. And I know people are like, my God, she talks a lot. I do. I really do. You could put it on pause and then you can come back and you can get some more downloads. This will last you the whole week, if you will. What's the date today? Because maybe I should this is how I plan, y'all. I plan as I go and it works for me. And I know that we should be doing a virtual group. And I promise you, I've been trying, but my fingers have been glitching. It does not. God is telling me, no, that's not how you're going to do it. I need you just to go on live and start talking and quit the bullshit. I think people call it gatekeeping, but it's not gatekeeping if you're having you're in your freeze response and you're still navigating out of that. It is not easy. I literally talked to my therapist yesterday about that, because I was like, how is it that I'm still in the space where I just can't release the things that I have, and I keep accumulating and accumulating. And she's like, where do you kind of get that from, you think? I'm like, well, I don't feel safe for nobody to have it. Am I acting like Kanye right now? I might be. I might be. He's a genius. Chris Brown, genius. I say. Genius. All right, so yeah. 10 a.m. live YouTube. Is today Thursday? Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. Okay. Yeah, so I guess I'll just, try to do this. And yesterday is canceled. Just stay connected. I look forward to connecting with everyone and getting an idea of what stage you're at in your journey and how that kind of unraveled for you, and where you see yourself in 5 years. Because these conversations need to happen. I do want to be on some of the planets with y'all. I want to be able to visit your planet. That's what we're going to do. Anyways, I am going to head out. It is getting mighty hot out here. We might have to push this back to 9, because the way that it's hot right now is not friendly. So I love you guys. Send me email at stickproductions@gmail.com. I'll put it down below. You got my WhatsApp should be below. If you want services, one-on-one services with me, that's going to be there. I don't want to hear no commentary about the price, my friend, because it should be $120 an hour, because that's exactly what I'm worth on the net. But I'm doing God's work, and I still need to feed my children and purchase items for the family. So this is a small business. This is the way that I do therapy. This is the way that I get through trauma. This is the way that I help other people feel like on their trauma, by being a bridge to communicating with neurodiverse minds who are with people, a typical household. So that alone is a struggle. We can't even imagine how burnt out and overwhelmed. You can only imagine how burnt out and overwhelming it is. I know most of you have experienced it, and you know when to scale back before it gets to be too much. And some of us are still learning. So yes, love you guys. Keep drinking your water. Make sure you get your vitamin D, magnesium, spirulina, some chlorophyll to kind of bind all of the toxins out of your body. That's what that does. spirulina, um, vitamin D, because we're organically, naturally deficient in it. I'm not making any gestures, but this is holistic wellness. Um, it is important that you do that because the mind needs the minerals, right? And we want it, that the brain needs to be fed, and it doesn't need much, but we also have to be mindful as to what we're putting in the body. Like this week, I had so many like Mexican candies, and I should stop because my teeth are like hurting. But it's a addictive pattern that I have for an emotional need that's not being fulfilled right now. And people are like, I do it all the time. That's not for you to brag about. Like, stop doing that. Emotionally, that's how you heal your body, or else you're putting the cancer light switch on. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Um, so back to what I was saying, alcohol, take it out. It's not good for you. People around me, they do drink. They do. And alcohol is not good for you. It'll end everything for you. It is an immediate suppressant, and it will bring you straight to the dark side. And crawling out of that is why you're here with me right now. So I don't care how far deep into what you're doing right now. Perhaps this channel would help with preventing addictions, and just really understanding like where you're at in this moment and what you need to do to kind of crawl, jump, skip, sit with it. Okay. We got to be able to sit with it. It does feel terrible. It feels absolutely awful. But I promise you, the quick way to do that is to change your environment. Get up, go walk, go hike, go to a forest, get away from the buildings, get away from the sound, get away from the wires, the internet, the institutions, the stores, all the overwhelming over stuff. Like you're just over it. You don't have any space for that. Get out in nature. Sit next to water. Hell, run some water. Put some water in your hand, run it down. Have a bath. Take a shower. Rinse that all off of you. Have a fresh start. You have the choice to have fresh starts every single access of the day. And if you're too tired to do that because sometimes it just doesn't allow you to leave your bed, that's okay. I don't want you to get down on yourself. The whole point of you going through this and sitting with it is not allowing yourself to beat yourself up about things that are out of your control because you have no narrow network or pathway to getting through that on the other side. By changing and allowing yourself to feel and writing it down, right? You're able to track where you, when that comes back up again, how you're going to handle it differently. What do I need to do in that? Like, what automatic tools do I have in front of me right now that are sustainable so I can get through this moment right now? Is why life coaching is so important. It's like having a sister who's always able to answer your call and walk you through something. But I'm not going to be the one to hold your hand through it. I'm just here to coach you and train you how you can do it so that you can go out and help somebody else. But first, you got to help yourself. Because once you master that, you are golden. You are God. You're in God's hands after that. You know, you tap in with the soul. You've done your own inner shadow work. You've reparented yourself. Your kids have reparented you. In turn, you have reparented your family. And now you guys are soaring. So healing generational wounds are difficult. It's very culturally diverse and complex. And there is a way that we carry over our parenting skills to our children. You have a choice to disconnect from it. You have a choice to model that the way that you would have liked to seen it modeled. You do not choose how to show up. You just show up. So, but you are responsible to hold yourself accountable for how you show up for yourself and how you treat yourself. And if you're so far in your addiction that you can't even see yourself and you know that you're hurting your family, This on you. Just keep taking in good information. Keep doing the steps that you need to do to stay on track. If you slip, it's okay. You got to get back up again and do it again tomorrow. You're going to do it better. Tomorrow is a new day. So I just want to put that out there for everyone. And yay, my friend is texting me. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not. And I'm not saying that it is, but we can do this together. Where's my calendar? Okay. Y'all, I said I'm still working, so yes. Oh, I gotta go somewhere on Friday. Here's another thing. I was invited to something and I'm like low key. I'm like, I'm already talking myself out of it. Why am I like this? I know, it's awful, but it is what it is. But yeah, I love you guys. I'll do all the paperwork stuff at the bottom of this thing, but this will be the regular time that we meet. And every day at 10, I'll be on, and you can submit whatever, I guess if you want to write in, if you want to call in, you can do that between 10 and 11:30. Okay. So let me write this down because yeah, people are like, you should write your schedule before. I actually, this is what I do. I go off of the seasons. That's how I do my schedule. I don't do no Monday. I'm telling you, I don't follow any sort of structure. Nature is my structure. And so, yes. So from 10 to 11:30 a.m. What today is? Wednesday? Okay. We'll do a live on YouTube. Okay. All right. My executive brain, this is how it likes to function. But anyways, okay, guys, enough rambling. I hope you had a wonderful day at work. I love you guys, and take care of your health. All right. Take care of your family. Love on your loved ones. Hold them tight, and love on yourself. Every morning, you get in that mirror. I love you. High five for getting through. You know, you got to reward yourself. Nobody's going to clap for you. Nobody's going to show up for you. It is the scariest thing in the world. And it's true. Nobody's going to show up for you. You got to face your own woundings. But you don't need to do it alone entirely because there's always somebody on the other side of the phone willing to hear you out. All right? Deuces. Wait, what I meant to say. Oof. All right. This is I think I have to say something like this is not a I'm not a doctor. I can't prescribe anything to you. I'm not a clinical worker. I am a coach, a life coach, and I provide health services, health and wellness holistic services, where we talk about the brain, the mind, the body, the connection, and how we can stay connected and be fully present in the moment while we are living 3 different lives: the past, the present, and the future. So, yes. All right. My non structured self is coming offline right now.